Okay, so let's talk about understanding table relationships. When you look at the illustration for session 2.2 titled Visual Overview, Understanding Table Relationships, you will see the Chatham database, and in it, in the navigation pane, you'll see the billing table, patient table, visit table. Then you see a query called visit list, a form called visit data, and a report called visit details, which you should have already created in chapter 1. The billing and patient tables will be created in this chapter. But in that illustration, if you'll notice over to the right on the tab sheet called relationships, you'll see the patient table with all the fields that make up the patient table listed there, the same for visit, and the same for billing. Now, you'll notice that there's a bold line that spans from the patient table to the visit table. Okay? Specifically, if you'll look at the patient table, the line emerges out horizontally from the patient ID field. And when it feeds on over to the visit table, notice that it comes down so that it aligns with the patient ID field in the visit table. And so then you'll notice from the visit table to the billing table, there's another bold line, but it spans from the visit ID field in the visit table to the visit ID field in the billing table. Now, let's back up and look at the patient table as it relates to the visit table. The records in the patient table can be related to the tables in the visit table by matching up the patient ID numbers to achieve a cross-reference. Okay, so I can look for a specific patient ID, say in the visit table. This patient made this visit. Who is this patient? Well, my patient ID lists are over in the patient table as well, and each patient has its own unique ID. So whatever patient ID is in the visit table, if I take that and I go over and I look in the patient table and find the match to that, then I'll see who that patient is, along with their birth date, their phone number, their address, email, and so on. So we can see how that relationship is created. Now, we note that in the patient table, every patient has their own unique ID number. So the patient ID number value for each record can only exist once. So you'll see the 1 above the bold line over at the patient table. And then that line goes over to the visit table to the patient ID number, and it has an infinity symbol there, which means that there can be multiple records in the visit table that have the same patient ID number. Suppose my patient ID number is 1234, and I visited on August the 15th, 2014, for whatever reasons, And then I went back again on September the 10th. Guess what? In the visit table, then there's going to be a second record that records the second visit. And they will record my patient ID number in for that visit record again. So there will be 2 records, one for August the 15th and one for September the 10th, that have my patient ID number 1234 in the visit table. That's meaning that I can have more than one 1234 ID listed in the visit table. So that infinity symbol means many. But when they get ready to look me up, that ID number to see who the patient is, it should only occur once in the patient table, because no 2 patients should have the same ID. So guess what? They'll look over to the patient ID, find the only existence of an ID number of 1234, and find out that it's Spring Tucker 252-738-3292, which is my office number, by the way. my address and my email address. So that 1 in that infinity symbol means a one-to-many relationship. 1, O-N-E, 2, T-O, many, M-A-N-Y, relationship. Patient ID is a primary key field in the patient table, so the value for each record can only occur once. They all have to be unique. But the value for that field, the values can occur more than once in the visit table. And in the visit table, the patient ID is not the primary key, it is the foreign key. The patient ID field is the common field between the patient table and the visit table. Let me ask you this. Which field is the primary field in the visit table? You should be able to tell by the illustration, but if it did not have a key showing beside of the field, how would you determine which one is the primary field? Because you're going to be the ones that have to do that. Access doesn't automatically know that. You have to determine it and then tell Access which one it is. Visit ID is the number or ID that we're going to use to identify each unique visit. No matter how many times a single patient comes, each visit is a unique visit. It's a separate visit. Every separate visit gets a separate visit ID number. So that's why visit ID is the primary field. Okay, so it exists only once. Whatever value it is for that record exists only once in the visit table. So guess what? In the relationship between visit and billing, those two tables, the visit table has the one side of the relationship and billing has the many side. So look at the many side, visit ID. If I made 2 visits, one August the 15th, guess what? I'm going to be billed for that visit. And if I go back on September the 10th, I'm going to be billed for that visit. So guess what? Those are 2 separate billing processes. So they have 2 separate invoice numbers. So the invoice number is the primary field for billing. But it's not a common field to anything else. Can we relate the patient table to the billing table? They have no common fields between each other, but they do have a link. The visit table links the patient table to the billing table. How? Because the patient ID in the patient table links to the visit table at patient ID. And from the visit table, we link to the billing table through visit ID, through the visit ID field. Back what I said in a previous lecture, the old math relationship. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. If patient can be linked to visit and visit can be linked to billing, then patient and billing can be linked to one another via the visit table. Okay? So, the next thing we want to do is add new records. Now I'm already in my Chatham database, so if you have not gotten in there, you need to make sure that you are. Okay? And we're going to add records to a new table. So what we have to do then is create a table, or actually add records. We've got billing here, and I'm going to double click that to open it up, and you see we've already created this table. So we want to add the records from figure 2-21, and I'm just going to go ahead and add those in. I'm not going to walk you through that. You should be able to do that yourself, so I'm going to put this in. So if you will be patient with me, I will do this. Okay. almost done. Okay, so I have added those 4 records in. Okay. Now, I'm going to back up just for a minute and look at the invoice column here. And when I went in here and I put this data in, I tabbed over, and if I use the control key and the accent key, if I can go down here. See what happened there? It picked up my previous value and put it in for me. Now I don't really want that, so I'm going to escape and take that out. But did you see what happened? If you look in your textbook where we add these 3 records, there's a step that says, when we get to the invoice amount column, press the control key, CTRL key. There's one on the left side and the right side of the space bar. Hold it down, and while you hold that down, press the single quote. And that automatically picks up the previous, or the last value that was entered there. So that would be another way to do that. Again, I don't want this here. I've entered all my records, so I'm going to press escape to set that back to 0, and there we're good to go. Okay. Now, the next portion of this is importing data from an Excel worksheet. Okay, so they want us to close billing here. So we go over here and close. Okay. And it says dialog box comes up to see if you want to make changes. It didn't do that for me. I did not make any changes in the structure. I opened this back up and make sure it kept all my records. It did, so I'm going to close this back again, and we're good. Okay. On the ribbon, we click external data here, and we want to import an Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to go to the import and link group to Excel, and here we want to look at the file name here. It defaults to my documents folder under me as the user from my drive C. Okay, and it defaults to import the source data into a new table in the current database. I already have 4 records in my billing table. I want to append a copy of the records, which means I want to take the records that are located in this spreadsheet and add them to the 4 records that I have already entered in, and it will start at row 5. Remember, my 4 records are on rows 1 through 4 in datasheet view. This will add this as beginning as the 5th record and continuing on. Okay, so I'm going to append what? I'm going to append to the billing table, and I've got to find my file. So I'm going to do browse, and I've got to go to where my data files are. So mine are on drive C. So I can get into this, into my CTI folder. Okay, and I'm going to do access 1, data files, access 1, and I am in my tutorial, and I'm going to choose the invoices spreadsheet, Microsoft Excel. That's not what I want to do.